Joining me to discuss the future of oil in Mexico, back with us again, Professor Manuel Suarez-Mier. He's an economist in residence at American University here in Washington, D.C. Thank you for braving the cold and coming in here.
Thank you very much.
The privatization of Pemex. We talked about this a number of times before.
Wait. It's not the privatization of Pemex. Pemex is not being privatized. What the government is doing is giving access to foreign investors to oil for the first time since 1938.
Right.
And putting Pemex to compete with them.
Right. Let me rephrase that. The decentralization of Pemex. Maybe I took one step too far in the world of capitalism. Now, in fairness, the falling prices of oil, how has that affected the government's sort of action plan when it comes to, number one, attracting sort of foreign capital to participate in the capitalism, if you will, of Pemex?
Yeah. Well, it affects in two ways. I was listening to you, the commentator that you had there, and that's only one side of things. Because the fact that the new price of oil makes it less attractive for foreign investors means that the Pemex and the Ministry of Energy has to work at making it more attractive. That means that they have to revise the conditions, make them more palatable, perhaps easier access, less red tape. So this might end up being good for the business plan of Pemex in the sense that they will have to improve it, because they have to compensate for the lower prices.
But it's not just the one company. I mean, there's a whole sector, right? There's a whole energy sector in Mexico. That I think oftentimes we focus too much on one or two companies, but we're talking about there's a lot of small companies that could use the capital, whether it's from China or the U.S. or anywhere else in the world. Have we started to see the flow of capital yet?
Yes. You have started seeing some very interesting strategic alliances of business entrepreneurs, Mexican business entrepreneurs, that are creating companies to go into oil upside and downside, and electricity, which was also in the hands of a government monopoly. Parts of it had been sort of liberalized before. Wind, for instance, eolic power. And the Spanish are very important in that one. And, but the fact of the matter is that, yes, we are estimating, the government is estimating flows of, inflows of foreign capital only to the energy sector. You are right, it's a varied, a smorgasbord of possibilities, including petrochemicals and so on and so forth, of about $20 billion.
Yeah, people forget how big that industry really is. Now, there's the other aspect of it as well. I mean, it's great for Mexican companies doing business there, but also there's a lot of foreign companies that want to get in. They want to participate either on their own or through a joint venture or some sort of program together to participate in sort of all these reforms. What are the big companies, whether it's in the U.S. or China or anywhere else in the world, what are the big ones trying to get in there?
Well, you have all the major ones, all the big producers. Daniel Yergin called the Seven Sisters, the guy who wrote about petroleum, The Price, famous book, 40 years ago, and has rehashed it recently. You have the major oil companies from national champions from all over, China, Brazil, etc. All of them are sniffing around and trying to get a piece of the action.
They want to make money, obviously.
Absolutely.
And you think of what Mexico's trying to do. I mean, this serves not just for the energy sector, but also for other sectors down the road when they're also looking at sort of reforming, if you will. What's next in terms of reforms? So they've already done a lot. A lot has been talked about. But some people say that not enough has been done yet still. So what is the yet still part?
Well, things are moving slowly. These things take time. The auction of the first lot of properties took place late last year. The second auction is taking place now in the case of oil. In the case of electricity, they have very precise and accurate plans of how they intend to bring and draw interest in their expansion plans. The country badly needs electricity because if you compare the prices of electricity in Mexico to the US, it's 4 times more expensive. That means that the competitiveness of the country is suffering for that. So, and that, of course, the plans include importing electricity directly from the US, connecting the grids, and that also for the pipelines and gas.
All I can think about is all the money that's going to be spent building all that out.
Exactly.
Professor, we are out of time. Manuel Suarez-Mier from American University. It's good to see you.
Thank you very much. Likewise.